New Thought Media Network proudly presents Lindsay Leimbach, Practicing Infinite Possibilities, Fridays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. And now, here's Lindsay.
Happy Friday, everyone. Good morning. So if you're on the West Coast, you're having coffee with me. And if you're on the East Coast, maybe you're having lunch with me. Wherever you are, I am just really glad you're here. And I'm excited today because we're going to be doing affirmations. Now, I wrote holiday affirmations, but we all know that learning how to do affirmations and using them in our toolkit is so very important. So let's see. I'd love to see people. Hey, Wayne. Oh, so thank you. Look, Wayne from Canada. Nice to be smiled at. I am smiling right at you. Thank you so for being here. I really do appreciate it. This is such a powerful tool that we can all use. Affirmations. Let's see. Let me get this up here. I'm learning how to do all this all year round, but we get triggered during the holiday season. I mean, it's like the emotions are the gamut. All of a sudden, I was watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with my husband last night, and I said to my husband, I can remember what it felt like when I believed in Santa and how excited I felt inside of us. Can you guys remember that when you were a kid? It doesn't matter what religion you were in. Hanukkah was coming, but this holiday spirit when you were a kid, and it wasn't tainted by all the things that get us now. Money, busy, balancing work, busy schedule. Maybe you feel lonely. When you're a kid, usually, I don't want to say always, you don't have all that. You have that really wonderful lighted excitement, and it actually is spreading because when you go to school, the teachers are talking about it, and your peers are talking about it, your siblings are talking, be good, Santa's coming, and you can feel that. And it's so incredible, that power. And we want to use that power that we felt as a kid in a positive way now as an adult. So that is that inner power, that inner feeling we have. But like I said, we get triggered. So let's really get into this. Here, let me put this up here. I want everyone to always remember the ABCs of PIP. Being aware. Aware is mindfulness, being aware in the present moment, what is going on, what is really going on, not with all the stories of like, I don't have enough time. Oh God, I have to see my cousins, or my brother's coming and he's going to brag, or, oh, no one loves me. Not all those tapes and those recordings, but be really aware of what's going on in the present moment, because the present moment is where your power is. It's where we can dive deep. And then take a breath. When you're aware of what you're feeling, and you take a breath and you're really feeling it and you're in there, and then you can allow yourself to take that positive choice. And affirmations, holiday or any affirmations, is always a choice that comes from awareness. Let me say it again. Affirmations are always a choice that comes from awareness. So I want to just get a little into the brain so you guys can remember this. In the past, I've talked about this, but this is what I think about all the time in my own self. I have the lower brain, which has the survival, caveman thinking. You want to keep, your body wants to keep regulating itself, keeping safe and so forth. It's always there. You always want to have, the brain is always trying to make sure you survive no matter what. It does not have a moral code at this level. And then you have the middle brain, where all the programming that we've talked about, that stories. They could be positive stories, the feelings of what it felt like when you were a kid during the holiday season. That's in the middle brain. The worry that your brother's going to show up and embarrass you. that's in your middle brain. Regrets in your middle brain. How you deal with the holidays in the past and past memories in the middle brain. So we all have the lower brain that's always wanting to survive, and we have the middle brain that has all the programming from your culture, from your past, from your age, from your childhood, whatever it is, experiences, traumas, heartbreaks, all that in our middle brain. And then we all as human beings have the higher consciousness, this higher level of the brain, the higher executive center. That higher executive center in the red, you can see right there, that is the observer. That is the ability to say, is that memory accurate? That's where the mindfulness comes in. When people say a lot, you want to be heart-centered. Let's see if I can do this. You want to be heart-centered, and you want to connect your mind and your heart. Really, yeah, I do believe there's an energy level within the heart, and there's a system of energy going on. But if you went into a scientific, into like a CAT scan, and they were doing your brain, and you were having empathy, and you were having compassion, you were being the observer of your emotions, this is the part of the brain that would be activated. When this part of the brain is activated, you're in that survival level. Down here, we talked about the lower brain, and you're in the middle. The past experiences, your past understandings are totally what is ruling your light, ruling your consciousness. So we don't get rid of survival. Let's just say that. We need to survive, right? So that part of your brain is always on, even when you're sleeping or if you're in a coma or any of that, that part of your brain is always on. It's trying to keep you alive. Your middle part of your brain is already your past programming, right? So what are we doing? We're trying to activate our heart-centered in a mindful way of being in the present moment where the past programming isn't ruling your actions. I'm not saying that it doesn't influence your actions, but you're aware of it. And when you're aware of it, then you get to pick the new programming, the higher consciousness, and that's the heart and the mind. So what are affirmations? Affirmations are a choice. I really want everyone to understand, when you are affirming, you are making a choice to affirm. Breathe that in. See that internal power. Really get that power. It is so powerful. When you make a choice to affirm, you're putting new programming in. Where's the new programming? If you believe it, if you feel it, if it's important to you, that new affirmation, that new programming goes into the middle part of your brain. And then that becomes new programming that you can act on. In Science of Mind, we do affirmative prayers. Affirmative prayer is a choice. If I don't choose to do it, I don't do it. Think about that. Affirmative prayer is a choice. It is a choice of consciousness activating the higher part of your thinking and affirming the belief system to override old programming that is not working for you, to know the higher choice of the heart, mind, consciousness. So therefore, you are actually reprogramming yourself, which is bringing new energy out, which is reprogramming or changing your outer environment. But you have to change your inner environment first. If you're always reacting from your old programming, your old thinking will create the same results, right? So we have to go there. We have to know that truth, that we have that inside of ourselves. And that is what affirmations are about. Affirmations are like affirmative prayer, knowing the truth. Here I have this. I looked up on Wikipedia. Oh my God, Wikipedia. I'm not even getting the word out right. Okay, here we go. And this is what they had. Affirmation and New Thought refers to the practice of positive thinking and self-improvement, fostering the belief that a positive mental attitude supported by affirmations will activate success. Will activate success. Now, I believe in universal energy, and therefore you're activating and taking in and bringing in what you want because you're affirming it because it is already part of you. You're attracting it in because you have turned on that magnet within yourself. What you think about, you breathe. What you think about, you become. But what you really believe, because I have many weird thoughts all the time. If I become all those weird thoughts, man, they wouldn't let me be a mom. They'd be like, you can't do that. You can't teach kids. You can't be a mindfulness coach. The thoughts come in. I'm like, that's interesting. Wonder where that came from. And then the thoughts go out because I don't hold them. I don't believe them. A good example is last night I woke up and I was like, wow, I just had a really weird dream. And I'm like, why did I have that weird dream? Because it didn't seem like it was part of my own consciousness. And then I remembered I was actually listening to Harry Potter, which is I did all those Harry Potter quotes last in my episode 22. Right before I went to bed, and I was continuing the book in my dream. So just because I was thinking about it, I know where that originated. It originated from the outside environment of me bringing it in, and then my brain kept thinking about it. So it's very important that you think about what you think about right before you go to sleep. Your brain continues to think about. So make sure you're not watching the news or listening to something that's scary or whatever, because it'll continue thinking about it. And that's a good time to actually do your affirmations. So you're bringing in what you want to create. So when you go to sleep, then you will have affirming, which will achieve success. Affirming that will achieve success. Now, I also want to say about affirmations. Let me put this up here. About the brain, the RAS, the reticular activating system. So important for you to understand that when you're really holding on. Why do affirmations and affirmative prayer works? But let's stick with affirmations because this is what I want you to know. This is probably going to be a 2-part series because I got a lot of things I want to tell you guys about affirmations. But this is a good part to start with. Okay, so RAS, reticular activating system. That is your filter system within your brain. And it's when you have information coming in, and think about it. Right now, you all are looking at me. Thank you for being here with me. Okay, you're looking at me. But there's probably people in the other room where the TV's going on, or the window, there's rain outside, or there's sun, or whatever is going on. There's a lot of other information coming in, all different directions. You got bookcases, and you got whatever it is, and blinking telephones. Well, phones. I don't know, we don't call them telephones anymore, cell phones, and going off. Your RAS is saying none of that stuff is important. What your RAS says is what you think is important in the moment becomes the filter system within your brain. And if you think that this talk is important, then you will be focused on it, and your RAS will not let other information to come through because you would be bombarded if you had to take in all the information at one time. So the person who's in charge of programming your RAS, which is your filter system, which is the information coming in your brain, it has to go through that filter system, is you. And what you think is important is how you program that RAS, that first level of information processing before it gets in. And if you think what's important is good things, kindness, love, peace, generosity, right? Empathy, compassion, caring, being a heart-centered person, knowing that you're enough, knowing that you're good enough, you're lovable enough. If all that is in your RAS, then that information comes in and sinks into your brain, and you keep seeing it. You keep getting it validated all the time. But if you wake up in the morning and you turn on that news and you hear about, oh, the world's coming to an end, and war and disease and hatred and murder, jealousy, greed, you hear all that, then your RAS does not have a moral code in it. It just takes what's important, whatever you're thinking about the most, what's important to your conscience, what you're focusing on, what you're putting your attention on. It says, okay, that's important to you. And that becomes your filter system. And if that is your filter system, then all of a sudden you start seeing things on social media, you see things on TV, you see it in your neighbors, you start seeing greed, you start seeing hatred, you start seeing the world as half empty. Listen, the person who controls what you see in this world is you. It's not me. I mean, I control my own filter system. That's why it's so important to have start your day with a daily practice of programming your RAS on what's important for today. Love, kindness, do affirmative prayer. Watch programming like on New Thought Media Network, just like this, whatever it is. Pick up a book and really read something wonderful. Where's my wonderful book? Here it is. Here's my Science of Mind book. You can just open it up randomly. Anyway, so why am I telling you this? Because your holiday affirmations are programming into your brain. You are programming your ass. When you say, I am enough, when you say, I can meet all the wonderful things I need to do with flexibility and grace, and you say that, you affirm that to yourself, you're programming your RAS, you're being mindful, you're activating right here, the present moment, knowing you have the internal power to put the information here. It programs the RAS for the rest of the day. And when you keep affirming it, then it becomes a belief system within your own brain. And then your brain knows it to be true and keeps connecting to affirm your own truth. That's why it's so incredible that when you affirm to be, let's say, a warrior, or you affirm to be regretful or jealous or hatred, when you affirm all that, then your RAS programs, and it actually shows you that it's true. Your RAS and your brain always are trying to validate your own belief system. And so program your belief system. I like what Wayne says right here. I'm going to show this. Look at this. Love Wizard. Spot on. Spot on. That's why I like Harry Potter so much, because we're all witches and wizards. In a good way, or fairies, or whatever you want to say. We're human beings with the capability to actually be the love wizard. Some people say it's magic, but the most beautiful thing is, other people say it's spirituality, but the even more beautiful thing is science now, guys. It's science. Science is affirming that we actually have the power to program our own brain, our own RAS, and our own belief systems. And by doing that through affirmations, then we then live into it and create it in our environment. Then we see it, we feel it, we know it. It doesn't mean you're not going to have a bad day. Even a love wizard can have a bad day. As we all know, I had COVID. Not fun. Missed Thanksgiving, missed my birthday, missed my vacation. Not fun. You say, well, what about that love wizard? Listen, I'm a human being. Or I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. So I had a human experience. But my spiritual being can affirm in the morning saying, even though I missed that, I can create this. And I ended up creating wonderful things. I know it sounds like I had extra time, was around. I have 6 Christmas trees. Now, not a big thing. So I have one big Christmas tree, and then I have a little baby one next to it, and then I have 2 other little babies somewhere else, and then I have one in the kitchen, and then I put one outside. You say, well, that's a little over the top. Maybe so, but I was affirming to myself that I can have a joyful, loving holiday season with celebration to share with others, even though I'm stuck home. Even though I'm stuck home with COVID. It doesn't mean that I have to write off bad life. So I affirm to myself that today is a good day, and I choose to make it joyful, kind, and loving. End of story. End of story. That's what I did. Love Wizard. Love Wizard. I love that. So let's keep doing that. All right, let's go back to our banners. Let me see. I'll get back to my... I got this. I got this. That's, you know what? That is one of my best affirmations that I say all the time. I got this. I got this. I just want to throw this up. So I want to, I know it's in the middle, but I want to thank everyone for being here at the PIP program. And I also want to know if you have any affirmations as we go take this a little further, because I am definitely going to have a part 2. Because I'm really going to get into us developing the affirmations a little bit today and then a lot next week. But feel free to send them to me. And if you need any coaching on how to do affirmations and programming your brain for the positive, right? Programming, feel free to reach out at centeredmoment@gmail.com. Okay, so let's get back to this. Here we go. How do we make an affirmation? Okay, so we've decided what an affirmation is, right? Okay, we know that what it is, this is actually a sentence or a statement of changing your belief system into what you want, not what you don't want, what you do want, to be programming from here, your higher self, right here, your executive thinking, and then we repeat it over and over again. Because how do you get new information into the middle brain? It's either by deep emotion. So you have a traumatic experience, positive or negative. You will remember that. It will get programmed in instantaneously, okay? Or you have to repeat it. So we would like to use both of them for affirmations in the programming. So right in the now, meaning in the present moment, when you're making an affirmation, it has to be right now. Now, you don't say, tomorrow I will be happy. Tomorrow never comes. All our power, being that love wizard, which I love that love wizard or love witch or love fairy or love human being, whatever it is, that magical power, that spiritual power, that divine power that we all have is always in the present moment. You can't say, I wish I did it yesterday, or I hope to do it tomorrow. That's putting it out. We've got to do the work today. Just think about it. If you were taking the bar or an exam or anything like that, you have to study in the present moment to get the information in. Yes, the test might be tomorrow, but if you don't learn the information today and get it into your brain, then when it does arise in the future, it will not happen. You can't say, I will study for tomorrow to do my test tomorrow. That doesn't make any sense. You have to do the programming today. You have to do the programming right now, in the present moment. There's no other way to change your brain in the future or the past. They're just hypothetical. Nothing happens. Your brain only knows the present moment. Come on, guys. The power is in the present moment. You get that? Power is in the present moment. If you do the work now, then why people say, well, then it goes in the middle brain and then it becomes a habit or becomes a tape. And so in the future, when you're tomorrow dealing with a difficult sibling or an aunt or whatever, your children, whatever's happening or busy schedule, that tape is now already programmed and it will pop up in the present moment of tomorrow. That's what we want. We don't want to be doing the affirmation only when you're having the issue. Now, of course, you can do it then, but you want to start the programming now. And that's what we're doing today. We're starting the programming now. And of course, we want to stay positive. Think about that. It makes a lot of sense, right? You do not want to state an affirmation in the negative, meaning, I will lose my weight today and be thin. Well, you're stating that you have to lose something. I will not freak out when my brother talks to me. Okay, now let's just do that one. I will not freak out when my brother talks to me. That is not a good affirmation. And you say, but your brother's going to talk to me and you're going to freak out because he's going to bother you. Okay, I got that. I hear that. But you're telling your brain that you do freak out. By stating, I am not going to freak out, you're reminding yourself you're going to freak out. You're reminding yourself of the old tape, the old patterns. Your brain, think of it as file cabinets within your brain. And when you say, I'm not going to do something, the brain opens it up and looks in and says, oh, that's right, because you freaked out last Christmas. And then at the birthday party, you freaked out. And your brain pops up all these memories of all the times you freaked out in the past. We do not need to remind ourselves of our old programming to get rid of our old programming. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You don't say to yourself, I am not going to smoke and because it makes me cough. So I'm going to pick up the cigarette, have a smoke of the cigarette. So I cough to remind myself that I'm coughing to having the cigarette. So then you will break the habit of smoking. It doesn't work that way. You just don't smoke. Right? You just don't smoke. You don't pick it up to remind yourself that you're going to cough and then smoke it to remind that you're going to cough. You see what I'm saying? You're reinforcing the smoking by even doing the bad behavior or thinking of the bad behavior. So we don't want to reinforce negative thinking. We don't want to reinforce it. Even when you say, I'm not going to do it, the brain opens the file cabinet and remembers instantaneously. The subconscious mind instantaneously remembers all the times that you screwed up. It's all in there. Keep that file cabinet shut. So we're not going to state we don't want to do something and then do something. We want to say we're just going to do something. We're building a new file cabinet in our brain. I am a flexible listener and I am very easygoing no matter what. Now, you could say, well, okay, if that's true, I'm a flexible listener, I'm easygoing no matter what. You could say that. And then when your brother comes around and you go, I'm a flexible listener and I'm easygoing no matter what. In other words, you're not going to get pulled into the power struggle. You're not going to be pulled into the baiting that might have been happening over years. I'm just giving, by the way, I get along with my brother really well. He gave me this beautiful pendant. Maybe next week I'll show you that he got in Venice for me, and it's the tree of life. Oh, that's so sweet. So that's why he's on my mind. But I used to fight with him. So anyway, let's not talk about my brother anymore. I love my brother. All right, back to this. So staying positive and being in the now is so important, just so important. Now, what's the next step? Affirm with I know, I choose, or I am, and be creative. You don't have to always use your affirmation, your statement with the beginnings of I know, I choose, or I am, but they are good programming tools. A lot of people just say, I am. You're stating, I am calm. I am flexible, even when I feel like I need to be in control. Okay, so maybe that's like a little bit of the negative. Let's say, I am flexible in any environment and feel grounded. That might be good. That might be good. So I am, that's a huge statement. You're programming right in here. Remember that what we put into our memory, what we put into the middle part of our brain is our belief system. So if you believe that I am enough, then you counterbalance that old belief system that I'm not good enough. You see, I am. But I always I try not to say the word but. Catch yourself when you do a but, because that kind of says you make a statement, then you say but, and then you end up like dismissing the first part of the statement. So I like to, when I hear myself say but, I try to rewind and use the word and. Okay. Now I got myself lost in what I was saying. Oh, I choose. Once again, we started ABCs of PIP. Being aware, taking a breath, that putting you into the calm, and then making a choice. So affirmation is always a choice. Programming your brain is always a choice. If this was my wizard wand, okay, that we were talking about, the love wizard, if I was going to say, this wizard wand right here is choice, right? This is the power. I need to know to use the wizard wand. I need to know to pick it up, right? So be in the present, being aware that I need to pull out my wizard wand. And what is your wizard wand? It's your choice. It's your choice to do something different, or your choice to keep doing what you're doing. You know, sometimes we're like, be aware when you're in love and doing well and having joy. Choice, choice. Be creative. Be creative. All right. I'm on a roll, and I ended up coming down to this. Let's see, this one. Affirm with what you do well. Remember, when you are thinking about an affirmation, think about the things you do well. Okay, and build on what you do well. Maybe you don't do it all the time, but you do it well. All right, we're going to come back next week. I want to thank you all for being here. We're just really getting into affirmations. I actually have 7 areas of affirmations that I'm going to come into: health, family, money, schedules, the feeling of being lonely, being let down by holidays. I got all these 7 categories, and we're going to do them next week. We'll review affirmations real quick. We dived in deep. What is an affirmation? Practice it. Pick one today. What rang up in? I am flexible and have control of my own thinking because I'm aware, I can take a breath, and I can choose the ABCs. You can say, I have the ability to do the ABCs all week. Keep doing it. Keep working with it. I want to thank everybody who's been here with me today. We'll do part 2 of affirmations next week. I'm excited about that. I want us to remember to always support New Thought Media Network. They do wonderful programming. They are a nonprofit, and they do live on donations. I want to say grow. They live from the spirit of love of all the volunteers and the people who donate, and they grow with your donations. So I do want to thank you so much for that. Remember to do your PIP. Remember to do your affirmations. I'm going to just throw this up one more time and go back here. Being aware, taking a breath, and making a choice. Wow, that is such the power. Keep being the love wizard that we were talking about, or the love witch, or just the love human being that is there. And I'm going to come down to my banners. Let's see, take this off. Have a terrific holiday week. I do appreciate everything that everyone does. And feel free, please share this video if someone wants to understand more about affirmations. And have a great week.